Are you a determined and ambitious woman entrepreneur seeking to elevate your selling skills? Then I have a training for you. It's called How Any Woman Can Confidently Close Any Deal in a One-on-One Sales Call in Any Business or Industry. In this training, you'll be shown 3 techniques that you can immediately apply to your consultation calls and improve your close rate. This is a live training with me, and there's going to be an opportunity to ask questions. So come get yourself registered right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/close. Easy, right? Okay, I'm going to see you there.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Roush, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. Today's episode is a part of the Mastering Excellence series, where we dig into the concept from my background in neurolinguistic programming that there is a structure to excellence. And once you understand the structure of how somebody is achieving exceptional results in some area of their life or business, you can then apply that same structure to your own life and business so that you get similar results. Today's guest I'm very excited about is Janice Porter. Now, let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a relationship marketing specialist, a podcast host and guest, and a LinkedIn trainer. For Janice, it's all about relationships. Ooh, how much do I love that? She has an innate curiosity, which she has leveraged into building business relationships and teaches others how to do the same. Her passion is working with people who want to build their businesses through relationship marketing and networking. And she does that by using online and offline strategies. LinkedIn training is a huge part of her business. She believes all business professionals need to have a magnetic LinkedIn profile, and that LinkedIn is the platform for attracting new clients, strategic partners, and referrals. And then staying connected and nurturing relationships comes next. And Janice shows clients how to implement a tangible touch follow-up system to do just that. She values the friendships and business relationships she makes. And when she meets someone new, is always thinking, how may I support you? Janice, welcome to the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this because it's kind of like a journey into the unknown. So I'm quite excited. Yes.
Well, you're brave for doing this. And I always like to give the audience a little bit of background, like how we got connected, and then we'll jump into the questions. So I was very lucky to get to be a guest on your podcast not too recently. And we had a call before the podcast. So we had this great, like, kind of get to know each other call.
Right.
And then got to do the podcast, got to know you a little bit more, and was so excited to bring you on to my podcast. And I was just saying before we hit record, you have now introduced me to my new favorite podcast. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Yes.
Will you tell everybody what the podcast is?
Oh, sure. It's called Wiser Than Me. And it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, the Veep and Seinfeld TV star. She is a natural. She's so good at it. And she interviews women that she believes to be older and wiser than her. And they're amazing conversations that she has. The first one is Jane Fonda. So you can't really go wrong with starting with Jane Fonda. So yeah, kind of fun. And a whole bunch of stuff happens in that episode that wasn't expected. So that was made it more fun, right? Like the power. Yeah. And then what do? I've never had that happen in the middle of a podcast. She handled it well.
Yeah, she did. It's good for podcasters. Yeah.
She has a team, however. Mm-hmm. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. But it is. Oh, it's such a great, there's not that many episodes because it's just one season, but oh my gosh, I was so delighted. And I was thanking you before we hit record because I love that you shared that with me.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to dive in here. And the topic that we're going to talk about today is how to put people at ease quickly, because I think this is one of those places where you and I really connect, is that it's always about the relationship. And you have some really great insight and skill set around this. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think in sales, in my opinion, I always say relationship first, rapport always. So being able to put people at ease quickly is about relationship and rapport.
Absolutely.
So this fits nicely. Okay, so my first question is, if I was going to stand in for you for a day and I'm meeting somebody for the first time, what do I have to do, or how do I have to think to behave like you in order to put somebody at ease quickly?
Wow, that's a good question. I think what you have to do is you have to be observant and curious. That would be my quick and dirty on it. You have to be observant and curious. So when you first meet that person, if it's in their surroundings or if it's on screen and you can see their surroundings behind them, that often gives you an opportunity to ask questions and be curious. I remember a specific example actually that sticks out for me is it was on Zoom. It was during COVID. And I interviewed this gentleman for my podcast, and you could tell by just looking behind him that he was a huge baseball fan. So if I got him talking about baseball to start with, that would crack the ice immediately. So it's that type of example that I'm talking about. So being curious, but being observant of a person's surroundings. And I think just being focused on the person and being present in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is another one of those places where I feel like you and I have very similar approaches. Now, I teach creating curiosity and how do you create curiosity, but I feel like you talk about and teach a lot around being curious.
I do. That's true.
So how does one behave to be curious?
Well, I think you have to step out of yourself, because so many times when you meet somebody, maybe they're nervous, maybe they're egotistical, whatever, but they start to talk about themselves. And so you can tell if they're nervous because they ramble on without taking a breath. But, and I think I like them to talk, but I like to guide it so that I have a sense of, that they're answering proper questions, or that I'm allowing them to open up. But it's funny, like something just happened to me this morning. I'm doing a workshop, and I was sending out the reminders to this workshop through LinkedIn. And I sent this one out, and what came back was an automatic response from someone that said, "Oh, now that you're in my inbox, please note that I've got room for 3 more people to do an analysis on blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, okay, that just shuts me down immediately. One, it was automatic, so she probably didn't even know that it was a response to that particular email or message. But 2, how to turn somebody off. It's already all about her.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
So don't make it about you. Allow the person to talk, but draw out something that makes sense. If that makes sense, because I off on a tangent and then I forget the question. So remind me of it.
You're perfect. You're doing perfect. Okay. So what are your goals when you meet somebody new with this idea of, I want to put them at ease quickly? What are the goals behind that?
Well, the goals are really that I want to build rapport with them. I want to see how I can be of service to them in the best possible way. Because let's face it, we're all in sales. And so if the intent of connecting with people on LinkedIn or meeting someone at a networking event and finding a way to see if they're my prospect or not, or possible referral partner, that type of thing, collaborator, strategic partnerships, who can I introduce them to? Whatever that is, I have to get into their head a little bit to know what they're about. And if I ask them some specific questions, I can find out what their needs are. And that way I can come at them more of service that is more specific to them. And by asking maybe a more specific question. However, sometimes though, first calls, I won't do too much. I will just let them talk, get to know them a little bit, and then look for that next call where it might be more of a direct prospect. Well, maybe I can show you a couple of things that would help. Or would you be open to another jumping on Zoom next time and doing this or whatever? Yeah. But I do find that it's easy for me to go from that first message, thank you message, then a first connection message. I'm thinking LinkedIn because that's where I am. To an actual, I wouldn't call it a sales call, but more of a discovery or sharing kind of call that might turn into business.
Okay. So, all right. So you brought this up for like a LinkedIn connection. So is there something specific you do or say in your kind of that reach out over LinkedIn that works to put somebody at ease? Because I think, let me preface my questions, because I do think that now the way that people are showing up in our inboxes or showing up on LinkedIn connections, it is a lot of, let me word vomit all over you about how awesome I am and why you should hire me.
Yeah, no, I don't get specific on that first connection request. It's more generic. It's if I had never, if I haven't been, if I haven't met them yet at an event, which I probably wouldn't have in this day and age for me, it would be on LinkedIn. I came across their profile, or I was looking for connections in a new area, logistics wise. I would just keep it pretty generic and say, would you be, and I always ask them, would you be open to connecting? And once they say yes, then I would start the rapport building. And usually I would most definitely look at their profile, specifically looking for the little things that most people don't pay attention to, like they volunteer at the SPCA, or like they took a course in parasailing, or something, they play bridge, something that I can connect to, that I can say, hey, I noticed on your profile that you're a bridge player like me. Do you play blah? And then I would start just asking them non-business stuff to build rapport.
I like that. I like that approach. I really like the idea of looking for those details. To me, that's such a great representation of your natural curiosity, that you're willing to go a little deeper and get below the like surface stuff and really check in on something specific. And I love specificity. I think it's a game changer in sales, to be more specific and to ask more specific questions. So that was a great tip there. Thank you so much. I love that.
You can do, what school they went to. If they went to university as you, go Tigers, whatever it is. Were you a football fan there or a basketball fan? It doesn't matter what it is. It's showing that you paid attention and you're looking for that connection piece.
Okay. So we've got the goals. How do you know you've achieved your goals, that you're putting somebody at ease? What's the evidence for you?
They talk, they smile, they're open to another conversation, and usually we book something, to be more specific. I might have talked about, like I'm onto a couple of new things right now. And so I might have asked them about, have they heard of this, this website or this new platform? And they say no. And I say, well, hey, next time let's meet on that platform and I'll show you what it's like and see what you think. It's an easy way to, and they'll say, sure. And that's what we do. Or I might just, well, one thing I do as well, it depends on who it is, but one thing I do, and again, I don't do it before we've actually had a conversation, like a real conversation on Zoom or on the phone. Because I do it, you have to gauge, is it one message or two messages or even three messages before I get to that person, based on timing. Are they on LinkedIn often enough that, we get an actual conversation going, or is it, dragged out? And then if it is dragged out, there's another hint to people also, that maybe you want to get off LinkedIn pretty quickly to a text or to a email message, because that's their preference of communication, because that's another piece that's important. How do they prefer to communicate, because then you'll get them faster. And it works every time. It's quite interesting, but it does, so how should I get in touch with you next time? Is this okay? Or would you prefer me to text you or email you? So one of the things I started to say that I do once I've had this conversation is I do ask people for their mailing address, because I send cards. And so that becomes another piece that I can say in conversation. By the way, would you mind giving me your mailing address? I'm not going to sell it. I just like sending cards and that type of thing. And then that card that I send them or a treat that I send them based on what we were talking about could become my next talking point. Right.
Okay. I just want to break down for the listener. I feel like you gave so many little nuggets in there. That was so good. So I love this idea that you're paying attention to their preference. And not only are you paying attention to their preference, you're asking their preference. And I think that alone is such a differentiator, because I find, and I teach this too, that most people want to default to their preference and not pay attention to the others. And they rarely ask. And the thing that I'm hearing you say a lot is that you're asking questions. And by asking questions, you're building rapport, because you're getting answers that are relevant and important to the other person. And then it allows you to tailor your approach to that. Yeah. So when you're thinking about wanting to put somebody at ease, it's, I don't know if there's the golden rule and then there's the platinum rule. Yes. Do you know that?
Yes. Yeah. Do unto others how you would have them do unto you. I think that's
the golden rule. Yeah.
Okay. And the platinum then is
do unto others as they want to be done unto.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you ready to up-level your sales game? Well, here is a gift for you. It is the Mastering the Sales Conversation mini training. This training gives you my proven step-by-step approach to sales so that you can go from that overwhelmed and intimidated approach that you have to sales to feeling confident and leading a conversation so that you easily guide somebody to hiring you. You can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/mastering. This is my gift to you. Go grab it now. And so I feel like, and I don't know if you like that or not, but it feels very relevant, and it feels like you're really making an effort to step outside of your maybe norms and comfort zones to really, truly put someone at ease.
The funny thing is, because you asked me at the very beginning before I think we got on air about, what's my natural instinct or my natural, and because it comes so naturally to me, I sometimes forget that it's hard for some people to do that. So how do you teach that is the question, right? In that sense. And so sometimes it's like having to break it down so in a message sequence. Yes. And I've done this with clients where they've shown me their message sequence and why it wasn't getting any traction. And so, pulling that out and seeing why. And I can see why, but, so I know it's hard when something comes naturally to you to realize that it doesn't to others. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And that's 100% why I do this series is to dig into your, the things that feel very natural to you. But I suspect that even if they are natural to you, you've perfected and honed them over time. And so they feel so natural now because it's like breathing for you. Yeah. You don't really think about it. So I love that you're willing to let us kind of peek behind the curtain and dig into it with you of what your process is, because I think that is so important for somebody where it doesn't seem natural and it does seem like, can't I just send them an email? That's what I like to do. Yeah. It's like, well, you can. Is that going to get you the result that you want? So are you wasting your time and theirs? So anyway, I love that. Okay. All right. So my next question here is, how do you know when it's time to pay attention to wanting to put somebody at ease?
Well, generally in my setup, either they've reached out to me or I've reached out to them.
Mm-hmm.
So if I've reached out to them, that would be my goal, is to see that I can make them feel at ease pretty quickly. And if they've reached out to me, actually, I would do the same. I would really just still try to put them at ease and not be so focused on me. And it's funny because there have been times when I'm talking to someone and they'll say, well, tell me all about you and what you do. And I don't like going first. It's really funny. I'll do it, but I'll start and give them an overview, but then I swing it right back to them because I wanted them talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm conscious
totally relate to that.
So yes. So it's important right away to put them at ease.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think about, sorry, I've got a story.
No, go ahead. Yeah, do.
So my very first, and actually probably only presentation training that I did after COVID in person. Okay. I hadn't done anything for 3 years, right? Really in person, and been anywhere. And, been the old cliche we've all talked about, had our, sweatpants on and slippers and in our bottom half and, carrying on business. So I went to do this presentation in a local, to a mortgage group. And it was actually a training on LinkedIn. And before I left, two things. One, I was freaking out about being able to show my phone on Zoom to show them a specific feature you could only do from your phone. So I ran back into my office to see if I could get it to work because it wasn't working on my phone. And then I realized, wait, I'm going in person. I don't need to do that anymore. First of all, right? I can do it live. And second, I didn't have any shoes to wear. It was like nothing fit me. Only thing that fit me were sneakers because everything was, you haven't worn shoes for 2.5 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So when I got to the venue and it was my turn to speak, I told those two stories right at the beginning that this was very strange. One, because of this, and two, because of that, and broke the ice. And so I had to do that to be me and to then move forward and hope that built rapport with them before we even started. So even in person, right? It's important to do that.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I think there is something about willing to be vulnerable with the intent of making connection that is really powerful too.
And yet the interesting piece, if I may, about
please,
is that I'm not comfortable putting myself out there on Instagram and Facebook to the extent that people do. Their whole life is on there. And I think that's a generational thing, but I have my own way of, right, putting myself out there, making other people feel comfortable, but it doesn't go to that extent. It's really funny. That's a whole generational thing in my mind.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or also it could go to your personality style too, a little, right? I don't know. I know I'm an introvert by nature, and that's much more comfortable. And sharing all the little things on social media to me feels like a complete waste of everybody's time.
I know. I've always been thought of as an extrovert, but I think there's but I think there is a part of me that isn't. And people have a certain perception of you and not necessarily the right one all the time.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. So one of the last questions I like to ask in regards to the putting people at ease is, how do you know when it's time to stop?
It's a good question too. I think you have to trust your gut. And I think that you also have to honor people's timeframes. Okay. So you get on a call with someone, take note. Is it a 30-minute call? Is it a 20-minute call? And who's set up the time frame? And if they have, be mindful of that and make sure that you ask, I see we're running over. Are you okay with a few more minutes? Or, that type of thing. But also, if the conversation isn't going anywhere, it's not going anywhere. And that does happen once in a while, right? It's not a fit. And so you kind of just, it was great to talk to you. If I can be of any service, do let me know. And, au revoir.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens. And when you meet so many people, you can't possibly be best friends with them all anyway. So, but it's interesting when, like, I'm doing this workshop on Thursday. It's part of a monthly thing that I'm doing. And I put the event on LinkedIn, and I have a partner who does all the outreach for me for that event. And then he's doing the reminders today. And as the reminders of people who said yes on LinkedIn doesn't mean they've said yes to actually sign up. So you do a little reminder. And ironically, these are connections on my LinkedIn, but you don't know everybody. But ironically, I do remember their face, or did I meet them somewhere? I know these people. So that's important to me, that if I'm not sure, like I saw somebody come through and I remembered that name, and I messaged him. I don't think he's answered me yet, but I messaged him and said, hey, did we meet when we were both speaking at this realtor's office a couple of years ago? Just to, again, re-break the ice or whatever, because it's nice to hear. So anytime you can do that, but I got off topic, and that was time.
No, that was great. I loved it. I loved it. That you're paying really, again, it seems like you pay a high level of attention to the other person, and that you're willing to extend yourself and reach out and, again, ask a question and see, does that help break the ice? I love that you're willing to do that. And I also think that it feels great for people to feel seen by you. So for you to have reached out to him personally and say, like, hey, did we meet at such and such event? It shows that you're paying attention. And I think that's really important for putting.
Yeah, because it was just a copy and paste message that he got. And then I added that after myself. So yeah. Exactly. That does pay off. It really does. Whether he comes or not isn't relevant. What's relevant is that he got that conversation from me. I'm usually right on those, so I hope I'm right this time.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. And even if you're not, at least it generates a conversation.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because you don't know, if you don't have the conversation with people, you don't know where they're coming from, how you can help them, how they can help you, who they know. All of those things are important, right? Who did they know? It might not be them, but they may lead you to somebody.
That's right. That's right. I love that. Okay. So as we wrap up the Mastering Excellence series, I always like to have a few little something extra questions so the audience can get to know you a little bit. So if you're comfortable, my first question for you is, what brings you pleasure or joy right now?
My granddaughter.
I suspected that was going to be your
no
answer.
question. Nothing about that. When your granddaughter, who is 4, calls you 3 nights ago and said, Grandma, would you knit me a scarf? And I said, of course I will. What size? What color? Of course I knew what color. Purple. Of course. Okay. Last night I talked to her. Grandma, is my scarf ready yet? Can I see it?
I mean, what have you been doing all day, Grandma?
Yeah, exactly. It's not quite that fast, Amara. It's not quite that fast, but I'm working on it. And I showed her, I started it yesterday, Yeah. So that brings me the most joy.
I love it. I love it. That's so sweet. What is something people would be surprised to learn about you?
Surprised to learn about me. I don't know. I have a fun fact, but I'm not sure it would be a surprise.
You can share it. That's perfect.
I was on Wheel of Fortune.
You were?
Yeah. Back in the day. I
think that's a surprise.
Well, it was really a long time ago. And it was the beginning. I'm showing my age now. It was the very beginning of the evening show. Okay. First season of the evening show. So things were very different than they are now. You had 3 puzzles and a bonus round, and you didn't earn money like you do now. They had like a backstage where you could see all the prizes, like a couch or a TV or whatever. And you had to pick them based on the money that you earned playing the game. I didn't win my fortune, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That is so fun.
I'm a game show person. I'm a game show person. I just good ones where you have to think. Ones where you have to think. Like
okay.
Jeopardy.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. What's something exciting going on in your business right now?
So, two things. One is I've just launched this bi-monthly, twice a month LinkedIn. It's called the LinkedIn Advantage. It's a group session. People can come and bring their LinkedIn questions. It's really for two kinds of people. People I've worked with one-on-one who need some help getting LinkedIn to be a routine and a habit, and keep up the good, the good vibes that they invested in doing with me in the first place. And this other group are people who don't know me and want to see how I operate and want to know more about LinkedIn. So really, you're always welcome. So the way it's set up is it's the second and fourth Thursday of the month. It is $1 for the first month, and then it's $49 a month after that. And you can come and go to, when you need to, or when you want to. And I'm trying to build a community there. And it's a great place to network because I'm the connector, right? I know people get to know each other. So that's happening. And the other thing that's happening is it's a plug. It's just a blatant plug. Holiday season coming. You need to send cards. Don't wait till December 15th to do your holiday cards. Be at the beginning. Send Thanksgiving cards where people will pay attention and notice your card, because it won't be there amongst the pile of Christmas cards, and it'll stand on your people's mantle longer. So I can help you with that. I work with a company called Send Out Cards. You can send all your cards from your desktop or your phone, and you can personalize, customize, and make them your own. Put your family photo on them. Do whatever you want. Brand the back. Yeah.
That's perfect.
So those are my two blatant plugs. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. So last question then is, how can people listening right now connect with you? What's the best way?
They can reach out on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. It's just /Janice Porter. Say that they heard me on the Sales Maven podcast, and I'd love to start a conversation. I also have a website, janiceporter.com, and it's, they can find me in both of those places.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. I have been so happy to get to know you over the last couple months, and I'm really honored that you said yes to coming on and sharing with us. So thank you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. And I do look forward to keeping up our conversation and our relationship, and would love to hear from some of your audience. It would be great.
Yeah. Okay. So share with Janice, what was your takeaway from today's session? Thank you so much, listener, for being here. I appreciate you so much. And I wish you continued success in every area of your life and business. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.